This is Boss Bottle Bold Citrus, and I'm gonna let you know why I bought it, some of the good stuff about it, and also some of the stuff I don't think is that good. Please drop a like on this video, thank you, I really do appreciate it. And if you're brand new here, please do consider subscribing if you absolutely love smelling good. So let's start with the price. I paid a bit above 50 bucks for 50 ml, but that was on sale. Looking at the bottle design, the design of the bottle pretty much follows the design as the previous ones in the line. The bottle isn't the most important thing for me, but I actually really enjoy this green colored bottle. And when you spray it on, you get an intense, quite a zesty dose of citrusy freshness. But here's the thing, sometimes with intense citrus focused scents, the freshness of it is quite sort of a bright and sometimes a bit sort of a harsh. There's absolutely nothing about the citrus in this that is sharp or harsh in any way, at least to my nose. To me, the opening is definitely quite zesty, almost sort of a fizzy, and definitely quite a smoothly fresh opening. So there's absolutely no shortage of citrus-focused scents out there. And I'm not gonna say that the opening that is very much a citrus intense focused opening of Boss Bottle Bold Citrus is something extremely unique or anything like that. However, I do feel that it at least stands out a little bit with how incredibly smooth and well made the citrus in here is. So I don't think you should expect something that is incredibly new or revolutionary in any way. This is basically citrus, but at least to my nose, and that's the reason why I bought it. This is a high quality, well-made citrus that simply put smells really good. The more Boss Bottle Bold Citrus moves away from the opening and into the heart of it, the more I feel it gets even more intensely fresh, but with an added dose of aromatic freshness that almost goes into something, I'm not saying this is super minty or anything, but almost goes into something that is a bit sort of a minty fresh. And in the background, at the heart of it, you get a slight hint of sweetness. So at this point, it's citrusy and aromatic fresh with an almost sort of a minty kind of freshness to it and with a hint of sweetness. Even though the opening is a gorgeously fresh one, I do think I prefer the heart of it because it turns into a more nuanced kind of freshness, and that hint of sweetness is definitely something I really enjoy. The dry down introduces a bit of soft woodiness, which sort of helps balance up the intense freshness of it. I do think its woodiness is quite soft though, but you can definitely pick up on it. What remains my favorite and the main reason why I bought it is still that smooth citrus. To me it is that citrus together with the added aromatic touch and the slight hint of sweetness that really makes this what it is. And even in the dry down where this starts to get a bit more layers and a bit more nuance to it, I still feel this ain't something revolutionary. I do not feel this is something groundbreaking or anything like that, but this thing sure smells good. It definitely has one of the smoothest doses of citrus around, and I do feel this is a really nice, fresh and masculine scent. And I know I'm gonna get someone asking me if it's similar to the OG Boss Bottle, and no, I do not feel these two are similar. So let's talk a bit about the vibe of Boss Bottle Bold Citrus. This is basically, at least to my nose, intense citrusy freshness, and I do feel this is a kind of freshness that leans more towards something that is masculine and classy rather than something that is super sexy. So is Boss Bottle Bold Citrus a compliment getting kind of men's fragrance? This is a very likable, masculine, fresh scent that would definitely get compliments. However, I do not feel this is among some of the top compliment getting fresh scents for men. So in the beginning of this video, I said that I would share some of the good stuff and some of the bad stuff about Boss Bottle Bold Citrus. And one, pretty much the main bad thing about Boss Bottle Bold Citrus is the performance. And the performance of this actually makes me think of a fragrance I think is absolutely fantastic. I pretty much fell in love with Boss Bottle Pacific. However, One of the negative things about Boss Bottle Pacific is the performance, and that's pretty much the case with Boss Bottle Citrus as well. This thing, much like a Boss Bottle Pacific, is unfortunately not a strong one. If you ever worn Boss Bottle Pacific, then you know that you really gotta top it up every now and then, and that's pretty much the same with the Boss Bottle Citrus. I'm rating the projection somewhere between 4 and 5 out of 10, and the longevity is slightly better, but this is really not a strong scent in any way. And I highly recommend to spray quite a bit with Boss Bottle Citrus. But here's the thing, if you, like I do, overspray this thing, you will still not get an intense scent cloud. But with that said, I go with at least 10 sprays of this, usually more. And I highly recommend to carry an atomizer with you to top it up every now and then. So here are my thoughts on usage, and this is super simple. This is basically an intensely citrusy fresh scent, and this is basically something you spray on when you want a fresh scent on you. You can wear this throughout the year, but it definitely shines the most during spring and summer. As for occasions, basically any time you want a fresh scent on you, and I do feel this is something that works equally well for like formal and casual occasions. You can definitely wear Boss Bottle Bold Citrus for date nights. However, I suggest a more sexy fresh scent for date nights, and also something with better performance so that whomever you go on date with will actually be able to pick up on it. So who is Boss Bottle Bold Citrus for? Let's make this super simple. If you usually absolutely love intensely citrusy fresh scents, then this is most likely something for you. If you do not love citrus, then yeah, better to stay away. Number 2, and this is actually a very important thing, if you usually only buy super strong scents, then this is probably not for you. This is gorgeous citrusy freshness, however, this is not a strong fragrance. So let's quickly go through some of the alternatives to Boss Bottle Bold Citrus, and one of the main alternatives that I thought of was Versace Eros Energy. Versace Eros Energy was definitely among some of my absolute favorite fresh scents this year, and Eros Energy, much like Boss Bottle Bold Citrus, very much focuses on citrus. Eros Energy is also lemony fresh, but I do feel that the freshness of Eros Energy is more nuanced and has more layers to it if you compare it to Boss Bottle Bold Citrus. I know some absolutely hate Versace Eros Energy, but I think it smells great. If you want a fantastic, super affordable alternative that I really enjoy, check out the dent I put into this thing, then definitely check out Zara's Sunrise on the Red Sand Dunes. This is basically all about citrusy freshness with a bit of florals, and it's softly musky and softly fruity. For a gorgeous dose of citrusy freshness with a bit of aquatic freshness, quite a noticeable dose of musk, with soft woodiness and a really nice dose of sweetness, you have Legend Spirit. This thing smells so good, and you can usually find it quite cheap on discounters. The next alternative is definitely not super similar to Boss Bottle Bold Citrus, and we are actually taking a big step up when it comes to price. But this is, without a single doubt, one of my absolute favorite and most unique citrus focus scents. To my nose, it's smooth lemony freshness, a gorgeous, quite sexy dose of sweet vanilla, and a super creamy, super smooth dose of woodiness. Chanel Allure Edition Blanche ain't cheap, but it's absolutely gorgeous. So what are my final thoughts on Boss Bottle Bold Citrus? So once again, this is definitely not something revolutionary. It's without a single doubt not something groundbreaking. Citrusy freshness is definitely not something new, but I do feel there's at least a little bit of sort of a uniqueness to how incredibly smooth and well made the citrus in here is. A big letdown is of course the performance of it. It's called Bold Citrus, so I guess they couldn't just call it Boss Bottle Citrus. That does sound a bit boring, so I think they went through a lot of different variations, and I guess Bold was one of their best alternatives. However, I do feel if there's one thing this fragrance is not, then it's bold. It is, however, a masculine fresh scent that is pretty hard to go wrong with, at least if you love citrus and don't mind the performance. I'm gonna give Boss Bottle Bold Citrus 7 or 7.5 for the scent. I would definitely have rated it higher if the performance would have been better. So I really want to know how you feel about Boss Bottle Bold Citrus. Do you think this is a good one? Do you absolutely dislike it? And how would you rate Boss Bottle Bold Citrus from 1 to 10? Let me know in the comments, drop a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my other famous videos over there.